Hi there, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I will show you how to customize the dunning procedure in SAP S/4HANA. So let's dive right into it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm here in my SAP S/4HANA backend system and we navigate to SPRO, sub-reference IMG, and then under Financial Accounting, Accounts Receivable and Accounts Payable, Business Transactions, we can find the customizing for the dunning procedure. Now we will start with the basic settings for dunning. Click on this arrow and here you can see 3 customizing steps. We will start by defining so-called dunning areas. Let's select this one. As you can see, we have here 3 different columns, one for the company code, one for the dunning area ID, and one for the dunning area text. Please be aware that the definition of such dunning areas is actually optional. So we don't necessarily need to do this. However, let me quickly explain. Such a dunning area, so for instance 01, 02, is used if several organizational units are responsible for carrying out dunning within one company code. So as you can see, 2 dunning areas are assigned here to one company code. And those organizational units are referred to as dunning areas. Such a dunning area could, for instance, correspond to a profit center, a sales organization, or a business area. We define those dunning areas if we want to utilize different procedures within the same dunning procedure, so to say. So if we want to utilize those dunning areas, we would directly assign them in our business partner master record. Otherwise, the system will always use the standard dunning procedure that we are about to configure. Okay, for now we will leave it as is. Let's go back. Next off, you can see we have the customizing step called Define Dunning Keys. Let's select this one. So here you can see the different dunning key IDs, and such a dunning key is used to limit the dunning level of an item. So here you can see they are assigned to a dunning level, which indicates that items with the corresponding dunning key set at most reach this particular dunning level. However, you can see there's also a blank one over here. This means that items with a dunning key Z won't be done at all. And then we can see over here print separately. So if we hit this indicator, then the items with this dunning key assigned to them will be separately displayed in the dunning notice. Let's actually look into this in more detail. So we will navigate to transaction/O, hit on enter. Here we are in the business partner master. I will just select one business partner. By the way, if you want to find out more about business partners, I have a whole playlist about this topic. I will leave you a link in the description of this video. So make sure to check it out. We will insert FL000 as a BP role. Then we will just select the BP, hit on enter. We will go into the role FL000 and then into the company code data. And over here under customer correspondence, we can see amongst others the dunning procedure that we will configure in a second. However, here you can see the dunning level, and this dunning level is normally derived automatically by the system. And this is what we configured in the background. So there could be dunning level 1, 2, 3, or even Z assigned here in the business partner master. But this is automatically done via the dunning run. Let's go back. That's basically it over here. So normally I would recommend you not to create too much dunning keys, but to utilize the SAP standard, which is 3 dunning keys and 1 with a blank dunning level. Please be aware that if you done the business partner for the first time, this business partner will receive the dunning level 1. And if you've done it the second time, dunning level 2, and so on and so forth. This is kind of a hierarchy. Let's go. Then we have here the dunning block reasons. Let's click on this one. Here we can actually define why a certain financial document is blocked for dunning. So here we can define exceptions. So meaning that we can either assign one of those dunning blocks in our business partner master. Let me quickly show this to you. Back here in our business partner master, you can see we could assign this dunning block over here, or even during the posting of a financial transaction. So for instance, via /O FB70, if I just insert necessary data and we go to the detailed section, then over here we could also insert the dunning block and even the dunning key, as you can see. And by the way, for the dunning area that we have seen as the first configuration step, we could actually set it over here if necessary. And if we leave it blank, then as said, the normal dunning procedure will apply. Okay, that's basically it. Please be aware that the block can only be 1 character long. So those dunning blocks again are utilized if we do not want to dun a certain business partner. And this one should be skipped in the next dunning run. Let's go back. And that's it for the basic settings. Now we will go to the dunning procedure itself. Here we will start by defining the dunning procedure. So let's select this one. You can see there are already some procedures existing. We can click on New Procedure. So here we can now define the dunning procedure. We need to provide an ID first, which is alphanumeric and up to 4 characters. Let's say Z123 and a name, Test Procedure. Now we will start here with the general data. You can see dunning intervals in days would be the first field. So we must determine at which intervals the allocated accounts are to be done for every dunning procedure. So this means that during every dunning run, the system will check whether the run date is at least this number of days since the date of the last dunning run. So for instance, if I type in here 10 days, then this would mean that the business partners to whom we assigned this dunning procedure will only be done 10 days after the last dunning run, no matter if the items became overdue since or not. So the business partners are only done every 10 days at most. Then we have the number of dunning levels. So we defined those dunning levels before, and here we could for instance say 2. This would mean that business partners to whom we assigned this dunning procedure will at most receive a dunning level of 2 and not higher, even though, as you've seen before, there were up to 3 dunning levels defined in the system. Then we have the field called total due items from dunning level. So this would mean that once the business partner received the dunning level I insert over here, so let's say 2, then all due items of this business partner will be totaled. So this is important in countries where, let's say, your customers did not pay for a long time and there was a legal case opened at the government. So this would mean that a court order would be created by the system, summing up all the open items that have a dunning level of 2 or higher. But this is really a special case for certain countries. Then we have the minimum days in arrears. So those are the days in arrears which at least one item of our business partner must have for a dunning notice to be created. So meaning that we could say here 5, which would mean that only if one item of our customer exceeded those 5 days in arrears, the system could create dunning notices. However, these minimum days in arrears have no influence on calculating the days overdue for the items of our business partner. Then we have the line item grace periods. So those are the grace periods per line item, which are taken into consideration during the determination of the due date from the dunning run. So if I, for instance, insert a 4 over here, so as you can see, my minimum days in arrears are greater than my line item grace period. And this could be the case, as you can see over here. Items whose days in arrears are greater than the grace period, which is exactly the case, are taken into consideration during the dunning run. However, if I would have set a 4 over here and a 5 over here, then we would be in this case. So items whose days in arrears are less than or equal to the grace period are not taken into consideration during the dunning run. So you can see there is a relationship between the two. Please be aware that also those grace periods are not taken into consideration when calculating the dunning level for the item. The calculation of this dunning level is exclusively using the days in arrears. So this one over here. Then we have an interest indicator. So if we want dunning interest to be calculated for this account, then we could insert here an interest indicator. Please be aware that we could also set this interest indicator directly in our business partner. And whatever we set in our business partner will have priority over whatever we set over here. However, if we leave it free in the dunning procedure or in the business partner master, then no interest will be calculated for this business partner. Here you can also see there is a checkbox ignore interest indicator in master record. So this would actually mean that if there is an interest indicator set in the dunning procedure and another one set in the business partner master record, then if we hit this indicator, always the interest indicator of our dunning procedure will be taken, and the one in the master record will be ignored. And of course, if this checkmark is set and we leave the interest indicator free over here, then no interest will be calculated for the business partner at all, even if we state an interest indicator in the master record. Let's go further down. You can see public holiday calendar ID. So with this, we could actually ensure that overdue items are not paid on a weekend or a public holiday. We have 3 more checkboxes: standard transaction dunning. With that, only standard transactions will be included in dunning procedures and not transactions posted with a special GL indicator. This is normally the default setting. Then we have another one, done special GL transactions. So with this indicator, we could actually say that both special GL transactions and also standard transactions will be included in the dunning procedure. For now, we will leave it as is. And last but not least, we have a checkbox called dunning even for credit account balance. And this one we would actually set if we want to create a dunning notice even if the account of our business partner has a credit balance. So if we actually owe our business partner more than he or she owes us. If we do not set this indicator, then this means that the system will always check the account balance and will only create dunning notices for accounts where there is a debit balance. So meaning that let's say we have business in both directions with our business partner, and he owes us 10,000 euro and we owe him 8,000, then this would mean that what he owes us exceeds what we owe him. So we can done this business partner. Last but not least, you can see here reference dunning procedures for texts. So we could actually insert here another dunning procedure that we created before, so that the form names, so the actual print of the dunning notice, will inherit the values from the reference dunning procedure. Let's now focus here on those buttons. We will start with the dunning levels. So here you can see the different dunning levels. Right now there are 3 dunning levels, but we could define up to 9. Then you can see here days in arrears or interest. And for each of those columns over here, we can define the values, as you can see. So days in arrears means the minimum number of days in arrears, referring to the due date for the net payment, which our items must show in order to reach a certain dunning level. So this is kind of an allowance, so to say, meaning that a certain payment is already overdue, then 1 day will be added before another dunning level is reached. And please be aware that no grace periods are taken into consideration for calculating those days in arrears over here. And also please be aware that we could even state here a negative number. So for instance, -1. This would then mean that an item could reach another dunning level even before the due date has passed to reach this new dunning level. So here we say, for instance, for the dunning level 1, we will grant 1 day in arrears, dunning level 2, 2, and dunning level 3, 3. But this is just an example. Then we have here the calculate interest indicator. So here we can check this, and then interest would be calculated upon this specific dunning level. For now, we'll leave it as is. Further down, we have some print parameters. We have a section called always done. So if we hit this one, then this means that the dunning notice is still printed, even if no change has been made to the dunning proposal since the last dunning run. We can even hit this one over here called print all items, which would indicate that all items, so all open items, are to be printed in the dunning notices that have this specific dunning level. But this is normally only required for higher dunning levels, such as 2 or 3, for instance, in order to give our customer or vendor a good overview of the whole account balance. Please be aware that items blocked for dunning or items where an automatic debit is allowed will not be displayed, even if we hit this check mark. Also, items paid before the due date that have a special general ledger indicator are only displayed if the special general ledger indicator is defined for the dunning notice. This will we see in a second, how this is done. Then we have here the payment deadline. So if we wish to enter a payment deadline for the payment for the overdue items in our dunning notice, then we can enter the number of days over here. This number is then added to the date of issue of the dunning run and will create the payment deadline. And last but not least, we have here a section called legal dunning procedure, and there a check mark called always done in legal dunning procedure, meaning that if a legal dunning procedure was entered in our business partner master data, a further dunning notice is usually only sent when further account movements appear. But if we wish to send a dunning notice although no further account movements have occurred, we can select this indicator over here. So far for the dunning levels. Then we have the charges. We need to insert a currency, and then we can define here for the different dunning levels our dunning charges. So we have here a column called from dunning amount, which is the total of all overdue items printed on a dunning notice. So we could say here, for instance, if all open items reach at least 100 euro, then a certain dunning charge will apply for this dunning level. And this charge could be a whole value or a percentage. So either we can say here we will charge 5 euro, for instance, or we could say we would charge 1% of the total of all overdue items. So for instance here, 1% of 100 would be 1 euro. Then we have the minimum amount section, also for a currency, where we could state for our different dunning levels the minimum amount of overdue items necessary to trigger dunning notice. So for instance, we could insert here 100, and this would mean if the overdue items do not reach 100 euro, then those items are assigned to the next lowest dunning level. And the system will then check whether a dunning notice can be created for this dunning level. We could also select the minimum so this is the percentage below which the allocated dunning level is not triggered by the system. And this minimum percentage is multiplied by the total of all of our open items of an account with the same dunning area selected in the dunning run. So a dunning notice will only be created at this level if all of the open items due at this dunning level have reached at least the level determined by the multiplication. Please be aware that if we have defined here a minimum amount and a minimum percentage, then the minimum amount must have also been equaled or exceeded by the minimum percentage. No reduce. This means that for a dunning level for which the minimum amount or the minimum percentage rate was not reached, that item for this dunning level will not be reduced in the dunning level. So it will stay in the same level. And we have here the minimum amount of interest. So this is the minimum amount to be reached by interest in order to be identified at this level in the dunning notice. Next off, we have here the dunning texts for our company code, and then we select either customer or supplier. In most of the cases, it will be the customer. And here per company code and also dunning area or even dunning level, we can store the texts that will be printed on the dunning notice. Now let's go back a second. Again, over here, we still have the special GL indicator. Let's click on this one. Here we can define that even if a transaction was done with a special general ledger indicator, this transaction should be included in our dunning procedure. So here you can see the special GL indicators for the customer and for the vendor side. And so all of those are available. And if we want those to be considered in our dunning run, we would just mark them as such, and then they will be included. Okay, this is it for the dunning procedure. Let me just show you one more thing. If we go to the business partner, I just select this one over here, and we go to the FI customer data over here in the company code section under customer correspondence. Here is where you would set the dunning procedure, and then it can be used further in the dunning run. The dunning run I have already shown you in another video of mine. I will leave you the link in the description of this one. So make sure to check it out right now because this just makes sense for you as you've seen it customizing and now you can see this in action. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching till the end. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel and activate the bell. Also make sure to subscribe to my Patreon, where we have a community chat and where I post lots of informative blog posts about SAP. The link is in the bio of my channel. Thanks a lot and see you next time.